Hey, what's going on, guys? Here in front of me I have the newest Harbor Freight tool catalog. I just thought I'd go ahead and run through it. They say they have new game-changing tools. So let's go ahead and see what's inside. Alright, so on the front here we have their Honda generator, or Honda comparable generator, for $429. And they say the Honda's, pretty much $1,000. It'd be one that I would give a shot. A lot of things at Harbor Freight are really awesome, and some of them are pretty bad. So it's hard to know without actually trying the hands on. Their jacks, the aluminum jack for $60. I think that's a really good deal. I had the steel version. I got it on sale. I'm gonna say it was probably $50. It's the 2.5 ton version. I really love it. So I'm sure the aluminum one's awesome. The earthquake impact on sale for $130. A lot of people say that thing is really awesome. I think it'd be great for especially a home person, maybe a small shop, or somebody just starting out. The 26-inch 4-drawer tool cart for $100. I'd say it's probably a pretty good deal. Most of their toolboxes seem really well built, at least all the ones in the store. The Bauer tools, you can find a counterpart of even just a slightly better brand for cheaper. There's a Black & Decker, and it also comes with the impact driver. It's also a 20 volt, and I believe it's like $80. But these tools aren't really that bad, the ones that I've tried anyway. The Lynx brushless blower. It says it's 150 miles per hour at 480 CFM, and it only weighs 7.1 pounds. They say it's all 5 stars. Like I said, I've never used any of the Lynx stuff. If I didn't have a blower, I would definitely try them. The retractable air hose reel. A lot of people say that's really cool. And I will someday most likely get that. The Hercules, any of the Hercules tools so far, are they decent? Sure. They're actually pretty nice looking and stuff, but they don't have the power of a DeWalt. And with only a 90-day warranty, something's either gonna have to change with that, or they're gonna have to sell them a whole lot cheaper. The ladders are really nice. I like that you can adjust them to sit on stairs if you need to do some work above stairs, or get on the roof. But my only problem with the ladder is how close the sides are on the rungs. I wear a size 13 shoe, and trying to get both my feet on one rung while getting off my very steep angled roof just wasn't working. So that's just something to consider. I've never used any of their solar rope lights. Most cheap Chinese solar stuff don't last very long anyway. 100-watt solar panel kit for $150. I've heard a lot of people say they're okay, but you can get a better deal on eBay for better panels. But I believe this is a different panel than they've had in the past, so it may be worth trying. The little plastic ammo boxes, I actually just recently picked up a few, and I went back and got a few more. They're actually pretty nice. It says they're water resistant. It's just a little rubber gasket under the lid, but for $5, they're pretty sturdy, and I like the little latching system. And you can put a little lock on it, or a zip tie or something to keep kids out or whatever. I really like this battery charger. I was looking at it in the store. I like that it has a little digital display. But like I said, as for how long it lasts, I have no clue. But $40 for a fully automatic battery charger is pretty awesome. Some more toolboxes. I really think their US General toolboxes are actually pretty nice. So I don't own any currently, and the one that Harbor Freight has that I want, it's made by Recon. So the TV mounts for $19. You can find them a little bit cheaper on places like eBay or Amazon maybe. But $20 ain't too bad. And it also tilts, so it's not just a mount. Their batteries are crap. You know, they're okay for a TV remote, but if you have kids or you want to put them in an Xbox remote or anything that has some draw to it, you're better off just saving your money. The belt sander, I always look at it. I'm always so tempted to buy it, but I really don't need it at this point in time, so I keep putting it off, but eventually I'll probably end up with it. If anyone's used these security cameras, I'd be interested to hear how well they work or don't work. I'm actually in the market for some security cameras. I need at least 2, so this kit would probably work, but I'd like to hear some people's opinions on it first. Daytona Jack, if it's anything like their other jacks, but built better, I'm sure it's awesome. Shop crane, I eventually will also get that. A lot of people said it's pretty good too. The Hercules angle grinder, it has to be better than their cheapie, but I was at Tractor Supply the other day and I seen a Milwaukee one for under 30 bucks, so maybe best is to skip on that too. Their cutoff wheels are pretty decent actually. I did use a few and nothing out of the ordinary happened with them. The Multifunction Tools, that's like one of my favorite tools. Maybe not particularly this one, but if it works just as good as the other ones, I would say it's an awesome deal. Sometimes you can get this thing for $5 too. Harbor Freight put out a coupon. If you spend 60 bucks, you can pick one of these tools for $5, and it'll have like 4 or 5 different ones. They usually seem to do it around Christmas and things like that. The Diablo air hoses, they're awesome. This coupon makes them 20 bucks. They're a very good deal. I think usually you can get them a little cheaper than that though. So I'm gonna say I paid 18. The moving blankets are also pretty decent. But you know, they're just moving blankets. Chipper shredder, I was kind of curious about that too, but I really don't need to spend that much on something I'm not going to use that much. So, they're welders. I've heard some people say they get pretty good results with them, and other people say they're pretty crappy. So I guess maybe it's down to skill. I don't really know. All right, and then we got the earthquake. This is the stubby nose one. I actually have a cheaper version I got off eBay for about, I think it was $45 or something. But I love that it has a stubby nose. There's so many more places you can get the thing into than you can with the full-sized one. And it really doesn't seem to have any less power than a normal impact. There's another security system. Like I said, if anyone's used any of these security systems that Harbor Freight sells, let me know. I'd be curious to check them out. The tarps are decent. That one's 50 bucks. It's 19 foot by 29 foot. This is reflective and weather resistant. I never used a folding aluminum sports chair, but I have my doubts. The drum and sump pump has got a coupon for 50. Infrared for the thermometer. I would actually probably go ahead and skip this too. It's on $20 on sale. I got one off eBay for about $8, and I'd say it's actually probably better. The table saw, 114 bucks, makes it a little cheaper than all the other brands. I bought a Craftsman one, I think it was like 140 or something like that. The sliding compound miter saw, I was very curious about that too, but I got an awesome deal on the one I got. So I skipped it, but it was definitely in my thoughts whenever I bought that one. The one I bought doesn't slide, so I was kind of upset about that, but the price I paid was great, so I don't regret it at all, really. Their mechanics gloves are pretty decent for 10 bucks. Most of the gloves that Hardy makes are not that bad. 30-gallon truck bed gas-powered air compressor. That would be very handy to have, but it's $1,000. Log splitter, I actually have used it. A guy I was doing some work for, he owned a farm, and he had me splitting wood, and he had that, and it actually wasn't that bad. It worked pretty well. The movers dolly, I have a smaller one. I don't remember what the dimensions are, but it was like $8.99, and it's pretty nice. I was able to move all kinds of furniture around, big heavy aquariums. all kinds of stuff. So they're definitely worth their price, considering Lowe's will charge you double that. They're a 37-piece socket set with the case. I bought all my sockets separate. I kind of wish I would just grab that. The sockets are really awesome. Wireless security alert system. If you had a long driveway, or you just wanted to know if someone was nearing your front door or something, it could be useful. Or maybe put it in your backyard, so you know someone's moving around out there. Steel floor jack for 80 bucks. It's a 3-ton version. Like I said, they're awesome. Totally worth the money. They're safes. I was looking at them in the store, and their handles are kind of remind me of a locker. You know, like the cheap lockers that they had in gym class. The ones in the hallway were always the kind you had to lift up or whatever, but like the cabinets that the teachers keep their supplies in, it feels very cheap. If you want to, you know, if you're buying a safe to keep your valuables safe, you want to feel like it's going to stop someone. I know it's just a handle, but I don't know. The shop presses are really awesome. I don't think the price could be beat anywhere, not even on a used one. They're dollies. I got a Milwaukee one from, I want to say it was Menards for under 30 bucks. But that's not a bad deal. It's 700 pound capacity. Bigfoot. I'm sure their ratcheting tie downs are awesome. I'm sure they're not the greatest deal. Walmart actually has been the best place I found to buy those. I don't particularly have the axe, but I have the pickaxe and a shovel that have this yellow handle. I really like the yellow handle. There's no splinters. Feels solid in the hand. So it's really nice. The 18-volt variable speed impact wrench. It's 100 bucks. There's so many other brands you can get for right around that price. And that's Chicago Electric, and most of their stuff's kind of junky. Most of them are decent enough to buy and use a little bit, but 100 bucks, like I said, isn't worth it. I seen it was actually, they were recreating like a bank robbery or something, and some guys used this tool to break into the vault. It's kind of funny. These foldable sawhorses are very cheap, 9 bucks. I actually have 2 of them. They're sold as a kit for like 18 or 19 bucks when they're not on sale. And they feel very cheap when you're touching them, but when you put a little weight on them, they definitely stiffen up, and I've had no problem cutting wood on them or using them to store or paint things or whatever. I also have this wall-mounted parts bin. I actually don't have it hanging up yet. I'm waiting on trying to figure out what kind of workbench I want and pegboard. So I do have it. I did pull it out of the box. It's quite nice. You couldn't put a ton of weight on it as the back is plastic, but it seemed decent enough for the 14 bucks you pay. I've heard a lot of people say this drill press is okay, and the drain cleaner is also very nice. Yeah, actually had to use it quite often. We had a septic system and there was a lot of tree roots in there, and it kept backing up under the basement floor drain in the last house we lived. So we constantly had to use that thing, and it definitely paid for itself just after a few times. I mean, Roto-Rooter charges you almost 100 bucks just to come to your house. These steel tool carts, I'm always considering buying one of these, but with my current setup it's not really needed. But I think it's a good deal, and they do have one set up in my store, and it's actually pretty nice. The crane, I'm sure it's pretty nice also, but like I said, I don't have a use for it, so I never really checked it out. The flooring nailer stapler, I would probably just get a different brand, but I'm sure it's decent. They're nailers. I have the framing nailer and a brad nailer, and they're both pretty decent. I would buy them again. The Ratcheting Wrench set for 19 bucks. If they're anything like the cheap set I had before, I would probably buy them. They were pretty nice. The ones I had, I think, were gear wrench. I know people are gonna get mad about that, but it was like their lowest set. I bought it off eBay for like 40 bucks, and I honestly wasn't that impressed with them. Digital caliper for 10 bucks. That's another eBay item you could get for 4 or 5. The cheap corded drill, I mean 12 bucks. Even if it only lasted you a year, it's probably worth it. Ball joint tool, I would probably just rent one from somewhere unless you do it often. Normally I like buying all my tools, but some things like that I just won't buy. Page generators. Apparently they sell peak antifreeze. Safety glasses for $1.50. I'm always considering these anti-fatigue foam mats for the floor in my garage also, around my benches and things. Some magnetic hooks for $4. A rake for $20. You can get a rake at Lowe's for $10. I believe it's Blue Hawk. I've seen a few reviews on the shredder, this Portland shredder, and you know, it did grind up what they were putting in there. But you know, it seemed like it took a really long time for a tool that's designed to be a chipper shredder. Maybe I'm just, you know, I don't know, delirious, but it didn't seem that powerful. It did what they asked of it, but it wasn't fast. It had to be faster just to light them on fire. Blowers, weed eaters. I've never used any of these. I have used the pressure washer, and I really wasn't impressed with it, and I took it back. They do have a restocking fee on that stuff when you take it back, or used to. The Hardy gloves are awesome. I've heard a lot of people say they buy these industrial earmuffs. They're $3.29, and supposedly a really good deal. They're cheap and, you know, not fully effective, but they're nice for what you pay. It is coming up on that time for the heaters and things. I don't really see how you could go wrong with the propane heater, but I mean, I guess if anyone could, it'd be Harbor Freight. If I have room for a greenhouse, I'd buy one, but we don't. I've seen a few of the kits actually put up. They weren't that bad. You have to modify them a little bit. Not a big deal. Like I said, the log splitter is pretty decent. I've never used the manual one. The hydraulic one, I mean. There's an electric heater for 80 bucks. Kind of looks like a fireplace or iron wood burning stove. 7-inch bench press for $1.99. These pumps are decent. They'll get you through a year or two, but they ultimately break down. I've never used any of the Drummond stuff. Pipe wrenches. There's an aluminum pipe wrench. $12.99. The steel one's $6.99. If you use that a lot, it'd probably be worth it to get the aluminum one. The weight savings alone would probably be quite significant. Especially when you're talking like an 18-inch one. Or 24-inch. Cement mixer. I've never used that particular one, but I really don't see how I could go wrong. It's just a motor spinning the inside, you know, spinning the barrel. I always see people buying the power washer. I don't know if it's good or if maybe they were exchanging out an old one. I don't know, but every time I've ever went to the store, there's always someone in line with the power washer. At least one. So it must be a really good deal, or maybe it's just that good. It's something I may have to check out someday, because my little electric one just isn't cutting it. I'd love to try out the towable backhoe, but at this point in time I don't have any use for it. Tamper, I'm sure, is pretty decent also. The Bauer tools, like I said, I mean, the prices aren't that bad, you know, when they compare them to DeWalt, but they're not nearly the same as DeWalt. These don't compare to DeWalt, but they also did come out with some different tools here. The grinder, jigsaw, circular saw, reciprocating saw, and 1/2-inch impact. You know, and here's the battery prices, 20 bucks, 34 bucks. And the 1.5 amp hours, 20 bucks. An extra charger is 20 bucks, I think. Yeah. Anyway, they're not that impressive for the price you pay. There's a lot of other, you know, I'm going to say more name brand tools that have been around a lot longer that you can get for around that price. And there'd be a lot more tools you can use. And here's what I was looking, this is what when I seen this, I was kind of excited. I had the Hercules tools, and one of the drawbacks of having them was they didn't have any additional batteries. There was a few other problems. If you want to check out my video on those, you'll just have to scroll through and find it. It was like 2 weeks ago. Anyway, the impact started to wobble and stuff, but they didn't have any other tools. But now they're getting a bunch of tools here. So the normal base set. Circle saw, reciprocating saw, grinder, a multi-tool, a radio, an area light, a blower, and a jigsaw. So that's kind of, it's neat. Maybe I would have kept them if they would have had that out at the same time as the others. Every time I had asked, I actually sent them an email, and I asked people in the store, and they didn't know if they were going to get them or not. Either one of them, so. And I ended up taking them back, which they gave me no issues. I had not one issue returning anything to Harbor Freight ever. I actually bought this kit, it was a few years ago. The drill, you know, for 20 bucks, it's $25 now. I'm gonna say I paid $17.99 with a coupon or something. For under 20 bucks, and you get a drill and a flashlight. And I'm not saying that drill is the best thing ever, but for, you know, like I said, under 20 bucks, that's the drill I keep in the house. You know, if the kids want to knock it off the counter, or it's under the kitchen sink and gets a little water on it, I don't care. But it's plenty. You know, you can drill holes with it, you can hang up drywall. You're not going to be doing anything super with it, but it is decent enough for small tasks. And the flashlight's actually kind of nice. And my first one I had actually got recalled, so I got to take it back after, it was probably about a year or so, something like that. Maybe 8 months. I don't really quite remember, but I took it back, and they told me to bring the drill only, and they just switched me back a whole kit. So I got 2 flashlights, 2 batteries, 2 chargers. Anyways, it was kind of a neat deal. Like I said, I use the flashlight more than I use the drill. And they also have an impact driver that uses the same battery. I thought that was kind of cool, and a jigsaw. So you can get a whole set of tools for, what, under 80 bucks? They are, like I said, they are crappy, and they're probably not going to last you forever. But if you don't want to spend a ton of money just to fix a few things in your house, those would probably be it. I've never messed with hardly any of the Chicago electric tools. I do have the reciprocating saw, but it's a corded version. And I also have the 1/2-inch electric impact. I absolutely love this thing. Other than it's like, you know, it's bigger than this magazine. It's a big tool. It's pretty nice to have. Like I said, I prefer battery tools, but I do have that, and I have used it for some real stubborn bolts or something. If I have a lot of clearance, I'll go ahead and get that guy out just to use it, because like I said, I bought it. It's a pretty nice tool. And I always thought these close quarter drills were kind of neat. It would definitely enable you to get into a lot of places. I'm sure they don't have the power of the big ones, but being able to get in some tight places would really be worthwhile. Multifunction tools. All the brands I've ever used, they all work about the same. Some of them have a few different features that others don't. This is just a basic one. I'm sure it works good. Table saw, I'm sure it's decent. I've heard a lot of people say it's good. There's it makes dado cuts. So I've heard, I don't know that for a fact. The Chicago electric reciprocating saw, the one that you can swivel, the cheapest one, it's pretty awesome. I've used it for all kinds of things, never had an issue. I've heard a lot of people say these swivel head, basically tin snips, are awesome also. They're grinders. Like I said, you can get a Milwaukee one, I think it was like 30 bucks at Tractor Supply. I mean, you could always go with the Hercules. I believe that to be not Hercules, that's Central Pneumatic. I don't know, I can't read the side of it. Maybe it's Chicago Electric. I try to stay away from anything that's Warrior related. The brand Warrior that they carry, their blades and stuff. Mostly everything I've ever used from them has been pretty bad, with the exception of a few things. The Swivel Vise, $30. I think they also have a 5-inch for like 60 or something. I've heard a lot of people say that they're pretty bad. They crack, or they're hollow, so when you're beating on it with a hammer on a piece of something, they can break, crack. There's also a super coupon in here for $10 off a reciprocating saw. I don't know if it'll focus or not. A corded reciprocating saw. Miter saws, like I said, they're all probably pretty decent. Harbor Freight's had time to, you know, modify these things over time. That stand, I was actually going to buy it at one point, but I went with a different brand just because it was cheaper. I felt like if I was buying it from Harbor Freight, it should have been cheaper than the other one, but it wasn't. The sanders, they're pretty basic. I don't remember which one it was, but one of the cheaper ones. And it worked pretty good. It worked for what I needed it for. And I gave it away. I have this Dremel wannabe from Chicago Electrics. It's very nice. Give it a case. A bunch of little tools and bits and things. I was gonna buy this one, but it was tiny. It was a tiny little thing. It was smaller than a can of soda, which might be a good thing, but I just felt like it wasn't gonna last very long. It used to be $8.99 all the time. There's that belt sander I was talking about I always want. There's a bandsaw for $140. From what I heard, they're basically the same thing as every other brand, but they use slightly wimpier things. Has anybody had this scroll saw? I keep checking it out, and I don't really know a whole lot about them. So if anyone's ever used that, I'd like to know about it, please. I've used a brake bleeder vacuum pump. I actually still have it. The components are quite cheap. The vacuum itself is very nice. The tubing is very nice. The little reservoir is quite touchy. And you also need to use a little grease on the hose because it likes to stay stretched out to get a good suction on the brake bleeder valves. These portable garages, I've heard a lot of people say really good things about them, like they don't blow over as long as you support them. Oil filter wrench for $8. They're also starting to sell McGuire, that like detailing stuff. The last time I was in there, they also had Plasti Dip and the can that you can dip tools in, and in the spray can. All the different jacks. Their jack stands are decent. I don't like how deep the V is for the jacking rail. It's too deep for my car to sit in there correctly, so I had to put it on the frame rail, which dents it up a little bit, and I don't like it. So I just use them as a backup, or the pair I let people borrow. Jacks, they're all pretty awesome. I had to steal one just because they were cheaper. I would love to get the Daytona one, but I'm too cheap. If I'm gonna spend $200, I'd probably just get a Craftsman, honestly. But that was an old Craftsman that I was talking about, so I don't know how the new one is. Newer one is. These creepers. This one's actually okay. It's not really that comfortable, and if you try to lean on that, you're gonna break it. The stool is okay. It feels like there's cardboard in the seat, so it's not real heavy duty. You can buy a set from like Jags or Summit for about the price you could buy both these together, like $60, something like that. And they'll ship it to your house, usually for free. Ball joint tools, spring compressors. Most of the stuff is pretty nice. Slide hammer. I always look at the slide hammers, but there's cheaper places I can buy it, so I typically don't buy those there. And if I can, I just borrow them. The puller sets, I've seen people say they're pretty decent. I mean, all this stuff has a lifetime warranty, so it might be worth it to pick up if you do a set a year or something. Their pry bars, awesome. The panel trim removal set, awesome. Helps you get them little pop rivets out without tearing up your shit. Syntec jump starters. I've never used them. I've used a float charger. I use it quite often actually. I've been using it for about 2 years. Pretty much all year round. The car sits for a few weeks at a time without being started and stuff, so I keep it on the float charger just to keep it ready. The circuit tester, the 12 volt circuit tester, is a really nice thing to keep around, especially under $5. It helped me figure out a few wiring issues. Saved me from having to pay someone else to do it, which I wouldn't have done. But 7-function digital multimeters. The leads, they always give that away for free, but the leads often rot off before before you can actually get to using it. So I actually opened one the other day that I got for free that's been sitting around on my shelf for a while, and the leads are cracked already, which might not be a big deal, but they eventually snap completely off. Big giant rubber wheel chock is a pretty awesome thing. All the other stores sell little plastic things for about the same price, and that thing, once your tire's touching it, it's not moving. If you leave that under your car, you probably couldn't drive over it unless you have a big old truck. The non-contact infrared thermometer with laser. Like I said, you can get that on eBay for about $8. I've never used any of these other things. None of the readers or the other multimeters. The D-ring shackle bolt, the one I've used was pretty good. Had no complaints with it. I've heard people say these trailers are good, but there's also some hidden cost. And I've seen people frame them in and all kinds of stuff. So, but like I said, I don't really trailer shop, so I don't know what's a good price on those. I've never used any of the ramps. This 500-pound cargo capacity thing that goes in your hitch, I think that's a pretty good deal. $54. Some people pay that for a used one. Their ramps are actually pretty decent. I'd compare them to the Rhino Ramps. The steel ones are just like the steel ones you'd buy at Walmart or anywhere else. They're basically the same price everywhere, but at least here you can use the 25% off coupon when they're up, or 20%, depending on which sale you're at. The trucker's chain, that's probably a good deal. It says it's 5-star rated, but that might be 1 rating. The straps and stuff, they're not a good deal. Like I said, you can get them cheaper at other places. Toolboxes. I'm always eyeballing these when I go in the store. I really would like to have more room to get like the set of them, like one of each or something, but I just don't have the room. I actually bought this by mistake once. You can buy them off different brands off the internet for usually cheaper, but it's a wobbly. Even after you tighten everything up and everything's built correctly, it's level, it's still a turd. Now, it's not bad for some things, but you're not going to be doing a whole lot of work on the thing with any kind of weight. The hardwood workbench, I've heard a lot of people say it's really awesome. I helped put one together once, but other than that, it seemed really nice, but I don't have a whole lot of experience with it. This is the one I want. I watched Av's video on him comparing it to the Husky one, and the Husky one didn't have bolts for the top to hold the top down, so whenever it was humid it warped. It was pulling away from the chest. And this one also had thicker steel drawers than the other one. So all around this one was built better than the Husky, and they're right around the same price. The Husky was just, I think the drawers were just a tiny bit deeper. So the whole unit was just a little bit taller, like a few inches maybe 2 or 3. But the Yukon one seems really nice. All those little plastic storage bins are all pretty nice. This would be more if you have a shop, so you can store, you know, a ton of nuts and bolts and things. The Voyager tool bags. Absolutely love the Voyager tool bags. They're very sturdy. I've used one that I've had for at least 5 years. It's been beat up. I throw stuff in it. I carry it around. You know, I drop it. It's been wet. It's a very nice bag, especially when you get them on sale for like $5. They have a bunch of different sizes. These small toolboxes, I've never bothered with them. I've heard a lot of people say this metal ammo can is awesome. And this one does have a waterproof seal, not water resistant like that one. But it's also cost twice as much. I actually had a machete with a serrated blade. I think I got it on sale for like, this is probably that price, maybe it was $8, I don't remember. It's a decent machete. It's not the best, but you know, when you're cutting down brush or something with it, it doesn't matter. Just swing a little harder. Dead blow hammer, rubber mallets, super cheap, and no complaints. The clamps and spreaders, I think they're a really good deal. Though Menards has a, I think it's Tool Bench brand, and you can buy a whole set of them for like $14, and it comes with like probably 14 clamps, and some of them are pretty big, so that's actually a slightly better deal. These assorted sets, I've never bought any. Some people say they're pretty decent. I know I own a few of the tools out of there, and they're all okay. They're not anything special, but they're not super junk either. The tape measure where they give you for free, it's like a super cheap tape measure and like a rubber boot. But it does work, so I can't really complain. I've dropped them off roofs. I'm constantly knocking them off tables and things, and I've never broken one. The crowbars, this heavy duty pry bar set, I absolutely love it. For $10, you know, it's got the handle on them. They're very useful for tearing up flooring, or if you need to pry it on something, obviously. This 5-piece file set. I've seen people sharpen chainsaws with them, with the smallest one. I think it's a pretty good deal, $8. The chisels, I actually had this set. I think they work pretty good. You know, they're just a normal chisel. I also had this, you know, for $2.99. Sometimes you can get, they have a plastic one for $1 too, but most of the time it's warped. So I like the aluminum one. Utility knife for $1.99. Walmart has them for $1, I think. Stanley's probably $1.99. The locking jaw pliers. I call them vice grips, but anyway, $10, you get a set of 3. They're all super nice. I don't like that the handles very easily come off, especially the outer arm, but you just wiggle them back on, not a big deal. I recently bought the professional nut driver set. Absolutely love it. I haven't used it a whole lot yet, but I'm very impressed with it so far. The 18-piece T-handle Allen key set. What can I say? They're awesome. It comes with both SAE and metric. I actually went there and I was unsure if I was going to buy them or not. Came home and my nail gun jammed, and it uses the Allen keys to come apart. So I used that tool right straight as soon as I got home almost. And I was very impressed with them. If something happened to them or I lost a few, I would gladly go buy another set. They've been so useful so far. And the stainless steel, so it's pretty nice. And it has holes in the bottom to where you can like mount it to something so it doesn't move. These socket trays, I've never used this one, but I wouldn't get the metal ones. The metal ones break off pretty easily, or the sockets won't stay on the rail. The wrenches, I just have the standard SAE and the metric ones. They're awesome. Have lifetime warranty. Can't really go wrong. Like I said, if anyone has these flex head ones or these ratcheting ones, let me know about them, because I'm curious about them. So yeah, if you have any of those, let me know. So it's something I may look into getting. I kind of like them flex head ones, but you know, I'd hate to be breaking them weekly. So I'm kind of mean to hand tools, unfortunately. The composite ratchets, absolutely love them. A lot of people say they like the swivel heads and the extendable one. I've personally never seen anyone break it if they weren't, you know, if you're just using it, I don't think it's going to break. Their torque wrenches are pretty decent. I'm sure they're not the most accurate, but I've never had a problem with it. I've never had a wheel fall off or anything using them, so I think they say they're within 2%. And they're so cheap. I was going to say, I think I paid $100 at the auto parts store for one once. And I went to Harbor Freight and got all 3 sizes for, they were like 15 bucks a piece on sale or something like that. It might have even been $8.99 for the smallest one. Their sockets are all pretty neat. I've heard people say these chrome ones are okay. The ones I used, I split. The colored ones, I think they're also very nice. If you're doing light stuff but working on cars, you will break them. Put them on a ratchet. The hex sockets, they're okay. I did rip some of the teeth off of one, but you know, it does have lifetime warranty, so I should have took it back, but I think I tossed it. The adapter set's pretty nice. I prefer the impact rated one though. And the safes, like I said, they all felt really cheap when I was in the store. The handles and just the whole setup. If I'm buying a safe to keep something protected, I want to feel good about it, and that didn't make me feel good. But it was also the other brand. I don't want to say it was Bunker Hill Security or something. I don't remember. Alright, and here's the security cameras. And if anyone has any of these from Harbor Freight, please let me know about them. I'm really considering getting something. We just have a lot of strange things happening around here, and I don't want it to happen in my yard without being on camera. I mean, that seems like a really good deal. 4 cameras and a DVR for $239. And you can monitor it from somewhere else, and they're all 1080p. It's awesome. You can add cameras on for 40 bucks. There's the solar panel. These lights, all the ones I've ever used are really decent. I have this rechargeable LED work light. It's also pretty awesome. I had a coupon, I think I got on sale for, it's probably around 20 bucks. The halogen one, I actually had it for a few months and I finally just tossed it. The bulb, I'd use it for about 3 or 4 hours and the bulb would just burn out. You just be using it and just pop. I don't know if it was a particular one I had or all of them, but I was getting tired of putting bulbs in. Never used any of the string lights or anything like that. My kids have had this remote control car. I don't know if it came from here or from somewhere else, but they were kind of everywhere for a while. So I guess they're at Harbor Freight now also. The few people I've had tell me about this fiberglass wire running kit for 10 bucks. You get 33 feet of poles to run wire. I think that's a phenomenal deal. I'm going to say a single, like four, maybe 6 foot stick at Lowe's, I don't remember which one it was like $14. As soon as I seen the price and the distance I was going to have to go with the wire, I was immediately turned off by it and just went a different route. But if I would have seen that, I definitely would have got that. I actually have the torpedo level. It's not anything special. It does have a magnetic strip, so you can stick it on the fridge or a toolbox or something. Kind of handy to have around. The heat gun, if you don't have one, 13 bucks. Use a coupon. Brings it down a few bucks. It's probably worthwhile to use if you're not going to be using it all the time. When I had it, I melted the switch. I have a few of the extension cords, the orange ones. They're pretty decent. The casing feels really thick, but it's actually quite thin. The 4-foot 12 outlet metal power strips, absolutely love them. I always mean to pick up more when I'm in there, but I always forget. I have two or three of them. I'll say it's probably two. I don't know if I ever used. I don't know if the third one's that brand or not. The Hardy jersey gloves, you get 5 pairs for $4.79. You know, they're about 89 cents at other places, $1 at the dollar store, that kind of thing. I've heard people say the spray gun's actually not that bad. I don't know if I'd paint anything but like a fence with it, because I'm sure it does have a weird spray pattern, but once you figured it out, it'd probably be okay. The paint brushes are all pretty decent. You can get big packs of them for not that much money. Dollies, I mean, a dolly's a dolly. They have different kinds, you know, furniture dollies, appliance dollies. The movers dollies are pretty nice. The wood ones anyway, I don't know about the composite or the polypropylene. They're casters. I actually had to get a few for a stool, and they were decent. They were quite expensive. It had almost been cheaper for me to buy the stool, like the little stool, and just take them off there, but it's whatever. The drywall panel hoist, awesome. Like I said, that ladder's iffy. Sawhorses are pretty nice. I've heard people say the scaffolding is very nice. Tarps are tarps. They're disposable gloves. I try to pick those up every time I'm in there. Unfortunately, I forget. I get sidetracked by other things. I'm like, ooh, shiny, and walk off. But great price. You know, they're $10 on Amazon. You can get them at Harbor Freight for $6. Impact sockets, absolutely awesome. Other people say the earthquake stuff's awesome. I was looking at this cordless ratchet, and I was like, I was very impressed by it. An extra battery's $20. But I'm just not that lazy that I won't use a ratchet. You know, and after you get it loose, you can have another socket on a tool and run it off. Not a big deal. But I was like, yes, battery operated. I do have Harbor Freight's cheap air ratchet. It's decent. You're not going to be breaking any stuck nuts loose with it though, that's for sure. Diablo air hoses, like I said, are awesome. Their PVC air hoses are questionable. Their hybrid air hose is not too bad. You know, if you just only have 25 foot for $8.50, it's not a bad deal. The hose reel, people said it's awesome. I will get it someday. Just kind of repeating myself, sorry, since they have the same stuff in the magazine repeatedly. Central pneumatic air compressors. I have the 21 gallon stand up. People were telling me today that they replaced the housing of the air filter on the top here. Mine was plastic and came with like a sponge, and they're actually starting to put actual filters on them now, so it's kind of nice. You can find that on sale for around $150, $140, something like that. I will stay away from the oilless compressors. If you're just filling up a tire every once in a while, they'll probably last you a lifetime. I use mine quite a bit, and once these oilless ones are done, they're done. You can't really repair them. With the oiled one, you can change out the compressor and all kinds of stuff. So now their little fittings, that's the stainless steel one, but their brass ones are also pretty nice. Decent price. Never had a problem with any of them. The framing nailer, I have the 21 degree full head nail. I absolutely love it. I've only had one jam in it, and it might have been my fault. So I also have the finish nailer and a brad nailer. I like the brad nailer a whole lot more than I like the finish nailer. Luckily the finish nailer was given to me. Someone just said, here, have it. Because I wouldn't have paid $60 for it. You can get a Hiachi one, a reconditioned Hiachi one for about $30. So I've heard people say these The buffer grinder is a horrible mess. Some of them come with a lamp, some of them don't. I've never used any of this other stuff up here. Shop press is awesome. The anvil, I've seen someone using it. It's an anvil. It worked. Did what an anvil does. I was looking at their gravity-fed texture spray gun last time I was in there. It was like 20, I would say 20 bucks or something. I was thinking about getting it. I definitely wouldn't have paid 70 for it. That wasn't the one I was looking at. I don't even think I see the one in here. But people say they're pretty good. You know, and they're half price of everything else. So all the Hardy gloves are good. Definitely suggest picking up any of these if you need a pair of work gloves. They're all decent. And most of them are cheaper than anywhere else. And I've never used any of the welding stuff. And I'm always interested in it. I haven't ever got into it yet. What about this cheap welder? Is anyone around? Anyone watching this use that? I'm always eyeballing. I'm like, but kind of nervous on buying it. You know, $100 is quite expensive for something that's just going to be a piece. I don't want to buy it and just not be able to use it and just let it sit around. I have this little micro torch. Mine's orange. I'm going to say I paid $8 for it. And I absolutely love that thing. I use it for a lot of stuff. It's very easy to light. Never given me a problem. Awesome. Soldering iron. Just cheap soldering iron. Sometimes you can find them at the dollar store for cheaper. And there's the Vulcan welders. Yeah, I mean, they're way too rich for my blood, especially since I don't know what I'm doing. Got some more coupons on the back here. Another generator, your choice of oiled or oilless compressor for $100. Coupon for the wooden workbench. Coupon for some gloves. Pole saw. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this long Bible of bad tools, and I appreciate it. Anyway, if you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, have a good rest of your day, even though I just took up half of it. Peace.